Hello, Euriza. This is my feedback to your presentation draft. Okay, let's first start with, first of all, you have a good slide design. You've used the template, very nice arrangement here. Everything looks nice. Outline. Okay, right here, the outline should start with yourself. Remember, the first 3 minutes of your presentation is for self-introduction. So you should say, I'm Euriza, I'm interested in this, this is my research area, this is my background, these are my future goals and ambitions, this is what I want to do with this research, right? So the first 3 minutes, it's a very short presentation really. It's 10 minutes, but the last 3 minutes is Q&A, 1 minute for summary and conclusions. So you and then 6 minutes. The first 6 minutes will be for 3 minutes for yourself and 3 minutes for your sources. So there's really not a lot of time. So in the outline, you should reflect that. The first section should be self-introduction, research goals, background, research goals, future ambitions, whatever, right? After that, so let's say that's the first 2 or 3 slides is basically you, the first 3 minutes of the presentation. The second 3 minutes is discussion of sources, and here in your outline you could say overview of source 1, overview of source 2. So the second 3 minutes of your presentation will be, again, when you're discussing those 2 sources, a lot of it is not discussion of content. A lot of it is basically, you're going to say, I was doing research in this area in mineral oil and skincare, and then I found this source. This source was very important for me. It really opened my eye. It made me new. It pointed me to a new direction in my research. I realized after reading this source that this area is very important in the analysis of skincare or whatever. You're a specialist in this field. You know how to say it. This source really was crucial in opening my eyes to this new direction of research. Right? That's how you're going to talk about your sources. It's not simply about, let me tell you about the issue. It's not an issue-centered presentation. It's a presentation centered around you as a researcher. Even in the discussion of the sources, you're still talking about how they contributed, how they inspired you, how they made you research in a new direction, how they opened your eyes, that kind of thing. Right? What I'm seeing here is basically content. Okay, now we do not do horizontal chunks of text like this. Instead, it should be bullet points, right? So vertical bullet points instead of horizontal long sentences. You do not want the audience to be reading from your slides, because you're talking and the audience is reading at the same time. It's kind of strange, right? So the slides should be bullet point, very, very short bullet points, not long sentences. Phrases, not sentences, okay? Now here, I'm not even sure about this. There's a lot of technical language here. Stratum, corneum, epidermis, all of this. Remember, in your presentation, your audience will be non-specialists. So, semi-occlusive oil layer, yeah, I'm not sure about all of that. You don't want to talk about technical jargon. You want to tell the audience, look, mineral oils are very important, or they can do this or they can do that. In skincare, we all use these products. Mineral oil can change the game in this way or in that way. This is what it does. This is what it, you see, that kind of thing. Advantages, disadvantages. Why is it dangerous? Why is it helpful? Is it expensive? That kind of thing that no specialist can understand. They're not going to understand the stratum corneum. This looks better. These are the problems, but you need a title for this slide, right? What is that? Possible problems. And again, keep the terminology to a minimum. Candidiasis or whatever, I can't even pronounce this. Systemic candidiasis, I'm not even sure what that is. Estrogen dominance, okay, I can sort of understand, but not really, to be honest. But I understand the other ones. But I like the attempt to design the slide nicely, so that's good. Now you can say adapt it from. I don't know what the wording is, the precise wording in APA style. But if you made this graph based on that information, you probably should say adapt it from or something like that. Just check the APA guide for how to indicate that you've made this graph, but you used information from these sources. And then again, the summary should not be continuous text. It should be bullet points. And then you have references. They should be alphabetical. Campbell is before Rawlings, right? And there's no bullet points. Instead, you should use indentation. So here, oil and this thing, they should be slightly indented. In other words, press enter 3 times and start from here. So the first line should be here, but any subsequent lines in the same reference should be indented. Same with this. These two, barrier and practice, should start inside the line. The same with this, crude and responses and so forth, and no bullet points. So again, when you, on the day of the presentation, you have 7 minutes, because the rest is Q&A. First 3 minutes, introduce yourself. You could even include a photo of yourself. This is who I am. I'm a researcher interested in cosmetics and mineral oil and so forth. My research interests include particularly how that might lead to cancer. Is there a correlation or not? My background is in this, my future goals and ambitions are to really find out whether there is a correlation between cosmetics and cancer. And if there is, another goal would be, of course, to find a cure or how to minimize the damage. So that's all about yourself. 3 minutes for this. This issue is important because of blah, 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 blah. That will be part of the 3 minutes. We all use skincare. Some of these products we cannot do without them. We even give it to our children. All of that would be in the first 3 minutes. After that, you go straight into your sources. As a researcher in this area, I was able to look at several sources, and in particular, Rawlings and Lombard 2012 really opened my eyes to the idea that mineral oil might lead to blah, blah, blah. Up until this point, I had neglected this idea. But having read this source, now I realize that it is an important direction in my research, and in the future I intend to dig a little deeper in that area. This source was very important to show that there is a link between estrogen dominance and mineral oil. What is estrogen dominance? For the non-specialist, what that means is blah blah blah. Very, very briefly. My second source is Vrabey and others and colleagues 2010. This source was very important because it showed that there might be a link between mineral oil and cancer. And this is indeed my new direction of research. I want to do this, and that. In the future, I want to dig deeper in that area, and I think it's important to realize that blah, blah, blah. You see, that's your presentation. It's not about this is the issue, this is the semi-occlusive oil layer. You see what I mean? The conclusion should be bullet points, and then time for Q&A. And that's it. So it's about you and not about content. You should include one visual aid, at least. I think this is a very good visual aid. If you made it, congratulations, it looks good. Just say adapted from. And again, the titles of your slide should include discussion of source 1, discussion of source 2 on separate slides, and all of this should be reflected in the outline. All the slides you're using, the titles of each slide should be here. Okay? So, sorry, my computer is telling me it wants to be recharged. So, if you have any issues, any questions, just let me know. We could set up a time. We could discuss this further. No problem. Now, I would recommend, because the time is so limited, for each section of the presentation, just record yourself and practice. What can you say in 3 minutes about yourself? Practice that, just that. When you're satisfied with that, move on to the next one. Again, it's not a discussion of the issue, it's a discussion of how the sources helped you and inspired you to research that issue, right? What can you say in those 3 minutes? When you get to when you get to the visual aid, what kind of language can you use? As you can see, the square in maroon is blah blah blah. See, that kind of thing. As you can see, there is a direct link, blah blah blah. So what kind of language can you use to point to the visual aid? How do you interact with the visual aid? And again, you're talking to a non-specialist audience, so keep the terminology to a minimum. Practice that 3 minutes. Now we're at 6 minutes. Practice the conclusion, which is 1 minute, right? And then you can even imagine that people are asking you questions, and you could even practice that. You have only 3 minutes for Q&A. Imagine 3 quick questions, practice 3 quick answers, or something like that. You see? Most importantly, bring your positive energy, your beautiful smile, and you will be okay. And I wish you the very best of luck. Okay, Ariza? If you need any more, just let me know. Good luck.